Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Football Betting Podcast. It's just me and Tom this week. I'm your host, Tom Pipkin, and joined by my co-host, Tom Walker.
Hi. Feels a little bit lonely without Alex, to be honest with you, from Playmaker. He was only here for 1 week, but it's odd going from 3 to 2. But I hope everyone enjoyed the special last week.
Yeah, a little bit of something different. We're going to have more people on the show. That's something we're going to look to do over the coming weeks and months. So just freshen up now and again, so you don't have to hear me and Tom. But back to us, back to the usual this weekend. We're going to go through the Premier League, the Championship, League One and League Two, picking out our best bets for the weekend. Quick touch on last week. Bombproof treble lost by one team. Just Preston let us down at home to Reading. We'll cover that in more detail later on in the show as well. And the return of Tom's favourite section, the fantasy football section too. So you don't want to miss that one, do we, Tom?
No. We are sponsored as ever by the amazing people at matchbook.com. So you can, if you open a new account, you can get a first deposit risk-free bet. So you have to bet 25 to get £20 in a risk-free bet. So if it loses, it's withdrawable as cash. Obviously, it's for over 18s only, as the entire show is. And we ask you that you please gamble responsibly. More on that later.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so without any further ado, let's dive right into the tips for this weekend. Starting off with the Premier League. And first game up is Leeds against Spurs. Anything you fancy in this particular game? There's one thing that stood out for me, but I'll let you take it away if there's anything you like.
I like Tottenham. 1.95 they are.
You going off how bad Leeds are there?
Yeah, basically, because I know Antonio Conte had an absolute full, it reminded me of myself on Football Manager when I lose a few games and I just absolute head loss and just start questioning why I'm in the job, why am I bothering with this, all that kind of stuff. I think it's a bit of an over-exaggeration. Leeds took another battering, didn't they, from Liverpool? Mm-hmm. They look unable to cope against the better teams. And I think Tottenham still, even though they're not in a great shape, we can still class them as a better team. Leeds are better at home, but they've only tasted victory once in the last 5 at Ellen Road. They've conceded, Tom, 3 or more in 5 of their last 6. They now have the worst defence in the Premier League. And it was very Spursy, wasn't it, for Spurs to beat City and then lose to Burnley. But that performance from Harry Kane, for me, against City, was the best I've seen from a centre-forward this season. And if he can produce half of that performance against Leeds, he's going to get goals, as I just mentioned, 3 or more in 5 of the last 6 for Leeds in the back of their own net. I can see Spurs getting a win here and everyone in the Spurs camp calming down a little bit.
Wouldn't surprise me. I was more on the line of both teams to score. 1.59 is the price for that, mainly because defensively, both two sides are shocking. You mentioned that Leeds stat there. No clean sheet for them in 12 consecutive games. Tottenham haven't kept a clean sheet themselves in 10 consecutive games, so far from watertight at the back as well. Leeds haven't kept a clean sheet in games against Spurs for 14 consecutive games either. So not a particularly good record against them anyway. So yeah, I think the defensive frailties of the two sides will probably come to the fore here. And I think it'll be an entertaining one. Spurs very much might win it. But for me, I think the safer play is both teams to score. Next, then we've got Brentford against Newcastle. Brentford at 2.52, the draw at 3.3, and Newcastle at 3.1. This is one where I had marked down as potentially something to look for from a Newcastle perspective, perhaps. 3.1 seems quite generous considering they're up against a team with no wins in 8 in Brentford, really starting to fall down the table. Newcastle themselves, no losses in 5, so they're really starting to uptick their form a little bit, as we've seen since they brought in the recruitments in the January transfer window. So if you don't fancy Newcastle outright at 3.1, I think it's certainly worth looking at double chance potentially. So that's Newcastle to win or Newcastle to draw. The price for that is 1.57. So Does that interest you? You thinking along the same lines for this one?
It's what I've got wrote down. ADC, away double chance.
Mm,
I'm not ready to back Newcastle on the nose in games like this. Still need to see way more performance level before I start, backing them on the nose at bigger prices. But yeah, unbeaten in 5 with 3 wins. They'll arrive with a lot less pressure than Brentford, even though they're below them in the table. They're only 2 points clear of the drop zone now. But Newcastle feel like the hunting lion, and Brentford feel like the limping buffalo,
yeah,
basically, to me. Obviously, Newcastle trying to claw Brentford further into the relegation battle. We've been saying for weeks that Brentford are in it anyway, despite being mid-table or whatever they were. And I could see a draw, maybe a Newcastle win, low margins. Away double chance.
cool. Brighton Villa then up next, 2.42 for Brighton, 3.3 for the draw, 3.35 for Villa. I kind of looked at this one and went a bit, ooh, I don't know if there's anything you like.
No, move on. 2 teams that are mid-table and AKA inconsistent.
Yeah. Palace Burnley then, 1.98 for Palace, 3.65 for the draw, 4.4 for Burnley. And I think fair play to Burnley. I think a lot of people wrote them off, mainly me as well. I wrote them off.
Yeah,
They've actually put together a nice little run of form. They've only lost one of the last 6 games. They've conceded 2 goals in those 6 games as well. We saw them beat Spurs, as you've already mentioned, in midweek. They've drawn against Manchester United, only lost 1-0 to Liverpool, drew 0-0 with Arsenal as well. So Burnley really looking like they're potentially turn the corner in their relegation fight. And, you see, like I mentioned, beating Spurs, drawing with Arsenal, drawing with Man United, narrowly losing to Liverpool. This Palace side is in no real form whatsoever. Yes, they beat Watford 4-1 in midweek, but aside from that, that's Watford. I think Burnley is a whole different proposition for Palace, the way they're playing at the moment. And again, not quite confident enough in Burnley on the nose, but could turn out to be a good price. Double chance, Burnley or draw, 1.91 is where I was going to go for this one.
yeah. I didn't have anything down myself, but I'm totally with you. I could see Burnley getting something from it. They've completely 180'd. They've flipped
Mm.
everything on its head, and they look like the Burnley of old. They look dangerous and solid and everything you come to expect from them. So I'm really excited to see where this game will go. I just don't have a tip for it.
All right, then. Final 3 o'clock for Saturday. Man U against Watford, 1.36 for United, 5.6 for the draw, 10.0 for Watford. Think Man U will get the win here? I would say so, yes, but I don't like the price. Man U scare me way too much to bet on something at 1.36. Like maybe
Yeah,
one to
100%.
three.
Like there are way better big favourites in the EFL that are priced similarly that you would trust a lot more. I think Watford are proving to be pretty awful even under Roy.
Mm,
And Man U, unbeaten in 5. Tom away to Atleti, played Leeds, Southampton, improving Burnley and Brighton. Like they're all miles better than Watford, so they should be fine. But it's very
yeah.
tight.
Okay, and finally for Saturday, Everton against Man City at 5:30. Everton, the home side, they're 11.5 for the win. The draw is 6.0, and Man City are 1.32. Again, Everton pretty hit and miss under Frank so far, but I don't expect them to get anything from this game against Man City. Exciting as it is to see the title race close up again in recent weeks. The gap's what, 3 points now? I think off the
Yeah,
top of my
3
head.
points, and they've got to play
Yeah.
each other. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't see an upset on the cards here unless I just think Man City will win.
No, they've won 9-0 on aggregate in their last 2 away games, which includes
Mm,
around the 16 Champions League tie. Like, Everton, there's signs under Lampard, right, with that home win, but they've also lost twice, and maybe Everton will come good. I have no idea right now, but I don't think it starts this weekend.
yeah, I agree. Finally, then Sunday. So we've got just one game on Sunday. It's West Ham against Wolves. 2.14 is the price for West Ham to get the win. 3.35 for the draw and 3.95 for Wolves. Again, another game I looked at and there wasn't really anything. These are two sides chasing Europa League places. Potentially even the fourth place Champions League spot. But I feel like it's a toss a coin. I could see a West Ham win, a draw, and a Wolves win, to be honest. So I'm not entirely sure which way to
Yeah,
go.
yeah. I looked at everything because I would like to have a bet on this game because I think it's going to be really interesting and exciting. But
Mm.
just I looked at goals, I looked at results, I looked at everything really, and didn't come up with anything unfortunately. Um, I'm going to backtrack, Tom. I don't know if you've done this on purpose, but we've missed Southampton Norwich on Friday night, so we're just I'm just going to rattle off the fact that I fancy the home side in this one. 1.6. I've spoken a lot about Norwich recently. They've improved, but they're still really poor, and I think they got lucky. Remember their run of
Mm.
form, in inverted commas, for those that are on audio. Um, Wins against Charlton, League One, Benitez's Everton, Ranieri's Watford, and Wolves, credit to them, although it was in the FA Cup. Lowest scorers by 6 goals. And Southampton are a team that was spoken a lot about recently in positive lights. We've scored in 11 consecutive games, 13 of 14. Now for a Man City or a Liverpool, that's standard procedure. But for Southampton, they were very goal shy at the start of the season. They've really found their shooting boots, and they've lost just one game at St Mary's this season. So I don't think I can see anything other than a home win, 1.6 for the Saints.
Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry for Southampton and Norwich fans. I didn't intentionally forget about you there. So well remembered, Tom. Okay, well that then wraps up a pretty short Premier League for this weekend because not all teams are playing. Let's take a moment to talk about our sponsors at Matchbook, and then we'll dive into the EFL with our tips for Championship, League One, and League Two.
Yeah, so we're really grateful to be sponsored by Matchbook. So you can head to matchbook.com, deposit £25, and then you'll have a risk-free £20 bet. So you can use that towards the bomb-proof treble that we will reveal towards the end of the show if you want to put all of your faith in us. And yeah, you'd be supporting the pod and you'd be supporting Matchbook, who have been great partners to us. Their interface and website is definitely worth checking out. If you haven't already, you do need a sign-up code. It's TFB Podcast, the football betting podcast. So make sure you're using that code, otherwise the offer will not work. And we encourage you guys to check it out and support the pod.
Yep, absolutely. So please do check that out. We'd really appreciate it, as Tom mentions. So yeah, let's Championship, shall we?
Yeah, take it away, mate. What have you got for me?
Still, we Bristol City, a dream. They're so reliable. It's an absolute dream to bet on. We've been tipping up Bristol City games and things in Bristol City games for weeks now, including on the midweek Twitter tips, which have come in as well. So yeah, Forest are playing Bristol City this weekend. There's numerous things that I like. I'll go through them all. So I feel like it's a kind of a take your pick because they're all fairly similar in terms of the odds. So firstly, I like Forest to score at least 2 goals. So over 1.5, 2 plus, whatever the market's called where you bet. 1.83 is the price for Forest to score 2 or more. Bristol City have conceded at least 2 goals in their last 11 consecutive away games. So that's some bad away form in terms of the goals they've conceded. We say a lot of the time, get your season tickets for this club or get your iFollow passes for this club. Bristol City, if you follow them home and away, you've seen some cracking games over,
Yeah,
over the last few months because they're on this run that, like I say, away from home, conceded at least 2 in 11 consecutive away games. In all the games, so home and away, there's been both teams to score in 13 consecutive games. So again, Tipping the same thing up here. Both teams to score is 1.86, so fairly similar to the last tip. And also, all of the 13 previous games for Bristol City have been over 2.5 goals as well. Over 2.5 is 1.91. So, you've got three markets there, three bets, three tips, all extremely solid in terms of, the statistical form. If you want to combine both teams to score an over 2.5, you can do that, absolutely. Get some better returns above the 1.91, push it over the evens mark. That has happened in 13 consecutive Bristol City games. I'm certainly hoping Forest come out on the winning end of this ding dong affair that it seems destined to be. But yeah, it's going to be entertaining, no doubt.
Yeah, it will. It's a statistical dream, isn't it? Because the one addition I've got is I've got over 3.5 in the game wrote down. It's 3.3 with Matchbook. Forest have conceded the fifth most goals per home game in the league. 1.25 goals a game they concede at home. That is in front of Reading, Cardiff, Birmingham, and Bristol City. The highest any of those teams are the opponents, Bristol City, in 16th. Forest have a real issue defending at home. And then Bristol City conceded the second most goals per away game, 2.38 per game. Only Peterborough have been worse. So, yeah, this all looks like 0-0 then, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, typical it would be, wouldn't it?
Hopefully not. I'm going to stay on the goals theme here, and I'm going to pluck at both teams to score out at 1.88. It's Bournemouth and Stoke. Bournemouth at home have conceded in their last few to Boreham Wood, Birmingham, and Hull. They've won 2 of their last 8 at home. They do still have the best defence in the league at the moment, but that stat seems to be heavily weighted by their form up until the new year, when it seems like Fulham and Bournemouth were absolutely untouchable. Bournemouth have obviously come back down to earth a little bit. I don't think they're we don't need to be any more dramatic than that. And Stoke, they've had 4 of their last 6 games be both teams to score. They've scored or conceded 2 in 5 straight games. So lots of goals going in both ends for Stoke. Bournemouth as well. 2 teams who need the points. Bournemouth to keep on that automatic train, and then Stoke to close in on those playoff places. 1.88, both teams to score.
Nice. I think I found a little nugget. It's not the best priced nugget that we've ever read out on the show, but it's a nice little nugget, I think, nonetheless. So it comes in the Coventry against Preston game, and it's Preston to score a goal. So check your markets. You might have Preston to score 1+ goals over 0.5. Coventry to keep a clean sheet. No, it's all the same. Price on Matchbook for Preston to score is 1.6. So, like I say, not going to make any millionaires with this, but I'm looking at the head-to-heads between these two sides, and Coventry hate playing Preston. Preston have won the last 5 consecutive games. They're unbeaten in the last 8 consecutive meetings between the two. Coventry haven't kept a clean sheet in games against Preston for 15 consecutive games. So there's some strong stats there to back up Preston doing well in this fixture. And Preston are a side who, despite the loss to Reading, which cost the bomb-proof treble at the weekend, they've only actually lost 1 of the last 9 games in the Championship. So they're on a decent run of form. So I think it's well in the question that they could at least score 1 against Coventry this weekend. And at 1.6 for Preston to get 1 goal, I think it's definitely worth putting out there.
Makes it even worse, doesn't it? That 1 defeat cost a treble.
Typical.
It's typical. Tom, I am going to read out a tip that is priced up at 6.2.
Ooh,
a juicy one.
This is juicy. This is really juicy.
And when you hear the game, and the tip, I think you'll be surprised. It's Huddersfield to beat Birmingham away and both teams to score. I
Hmm.
don't think that seems far-fetched at all. I
No,
mean,
no, no.
I had Huddersfield down in my pre-season predictions to be relegated. I've been waiting all season for them to fall off, but they're here to stay. They deserve a lot more credit. They did beat Fulham in midweek, but what I was last weekend. But what I was more impressed with was their win against Cardiff when they were losing 1-0 in the 88th minute, and they managed 2 late goals. Those kind of things happen when something special is brewing at your club. And on the pitch, Thomas O'Brien, Colwill, Toffolo, and Karoma have been absolutely sensational, and probably don't get as much credit as they deserve, especially O'Brien. Um, and yeah, I'm ready to believe that they are here to stay. They're 16 games unbeaten now, and they're playing against a Birmingham side that have improved since when they strengthened their side in January, but they've still got the 18th best record over the last 8 games. Crucially, they have scored in 11 straight, so the arrival of Lyle Taylor's helps that. Remember, for this tip to come in, we do need them to score, so that's crucial. But yeah, Huddersfield to continue their playoff charge, maybe even their automatic charge, who knows. 6.2 for the away team and both teams to score. It's a whopper.
That is a whopper. I like it. Yeah, yeah. That's a really good find, that is. One more in the champ for me. Luton at home to Derby. Luton price at 1.88. Luton on a really good run, aren't they, at the moment? Really attacking the playoffs. Really strong form. Derby, suddenly, after things appearing, I'd say, pretty optimistic that they could escape relegation a few weeks ago, they now found themselves with an 8-point deficit to overcome. Reading have really turned their form around in recent weeks, and results have gone against Derby. But yeah, Derby's away form is pretty bad. They've won one away game in their last 15 attempts. That was a 2-1 win away at Stoke in December. So generally, much better at Pride Park, as we've discussed plenty of times on this podcast. That's where they're getting most of their points. 22nd best away record in the Championship. And yeah, just to touch on Luton again, 5 wins in the last 6 games. It's seen them shoot right up in the league to the fringes of the playoffs. Beat Stoke recently, beat West Brom, beat Barnsley, beat Swansea, beat Bristol City, Reading, Bournemouth. They've beaten a lot of sides. If you look down Luton's form, there's a lot of green. A lot of green. This is a team in really strong form, especially at Kenilworth Road. And I think pair that with Derby's poor form away, you should get a pretty comfortable win again here for Luton.
Yeah, totally on board. Had it wrote down. Think it's probably one of the stronger tips
Yeah.
this weekend. I think it's definitely worth looking at Fulham as well, 1.7. They're playing against Cardiff, who have the 23rd best home record in the division. They're unbeaten in their last 4 at home, but overall, I don't think they've put in a performance that will be able to match Fulham if they are up for it. Obviously, Mitro broke the record, didn't he, for Championship goal scoring with, 13 games to go? Something
Yeah.
outrageous like that. Cardiff, to get a result against Fulham, they're going to have to really pull out all the stops. And Fulham, back on track in midweek after that loss against Huddersfield with an important 1-0 win over Peterborough. They should kick on from here and continue their charge towards the title, 1.7.
Yeah, cool. League One then. Take us away with who you fancy first off in League One.
Yeah, well, the followers on Twitter, T_FB podcast, will have seen my absolute amazement when I was researching Crew Alexandra. Not to win, to lose. They're playing away at Cheltenham, and back in Cheltenham at 1.69, the home side. And I know it's a little bit tight, really, to say it's 15th against 24th. But Cheltenham unbeaten in 6. They lost 1 in 10. Although 7 of those have been draws, they've played some really top opposition in that time. And Crew, it's absolutely alarming how badly they look statistically. I mean, sorry to repeat myself to our Twitter followers, but bottom of the actual league table, bottom of the last 8 form league table. They're also bottom of the home form table, bottom of the away form table, and they are 22nd, so third bottom for best attack and third bottom for best defence. Like, it is, I mean, obviously, there's two sides of the coin here. Obviously, they're bottom of the leagues. Clearly, they're not going to be high in any of these, but I think it's rare that you see someone so stone dead last in so many aspects.
Yeah.
I mean, where the next point is going to come from, I don't know. I don't think it will be Cheltenham this weekend, 1.69, the home side against a club in dire straits, basically.
Yeah. Agreed. I can definitely see that one coming in. I was really shocked as well because obviously we look at the tables fairly regularly because we do the pod and we look at teams and their stats and their performances. But yeah, you really dug into it that extra little bit further, and I was surprised. I know they were bad because they're right at the bottom of the league, but I didn't realise they were that bad across all metrics.
Yeah,
Um,
very,
yeah,
very concerning.
yeah, big time. Wigan at home to Sunderland is one I like the look of. 2.02 is the price for Wigan. Obviously, Wigan, very good. They're in second in League One. They've lost just one of their last 16 games in the league. Generally, picking up plenty of wins. They've got games in hand as well to solidify their place in the top 2. I'm just looking at Sunderland. They've sacked Lee Johnson, and it's all just gone pear-shaped, really, hasn't it? It was kind of going pear-shaped with Lee Johnson in charge, but they were third in the league. Now they've dropped right down to 6th, and they're kind of lucky that they're in 6th because they've played more games and managed to get a few more points on the board than teams around them. But yeah, no wins in the last 6 away games for Sunderland. No wins in the last 6 games across all competitions. They brought in Alex Neil in the hope that it'd give them a bit of a new manager bounce. It's not giving them a bounce whatsoever. Lost 2-1 to MK Dons and drew 1-1 with Burton in the 2 games he's taken charge of so far. And I think if you're going away to a team like Wigan, when you're struggling against Burton, they've failed to beat Wimbledon in recent weeks, failed to beat Cheltenham, failed to beat Doncaster. I certainly think they're going to struggle against Wigan, who are really starting to fly on all cylinders at the moment. So yeah, I can see another weekend of struggle for Sunderland here.
Yeah, I think the game's just coming so quickly for him. I feel like he can't get his feet under the table. What I think he'll be looking at, obviously he wants to win every game, but after this they've got Charlton, Crewe, Fleetwood and Lincoln. So they need to win at least 3 of those 4, to keep pace with the automatic spots. Yeah, I for the record, I had Wigan wrote down as well. Oxford going to be back in yellows. They're 1.57. They're playing against Cambridge. They're now up to 4th. Whenever I think of Oxford, I always think they're 7th, 8th, or 9th. Chasing the playoffs. And then, last season they got in on the last day, so maybe that is subconsciously in my brain. But yeah, they're up to 4th. They, in my mind, have my vote for League One Player of the Year in Cameron Brannigan. He's been absolutely sensational. And surely the championship beckons for him in pre-season. They've got to hold on to that spot now, and having the best attack in the division statistically is definitely going to help. Their opponents, they haven't beaten Oxford, or Oxford haven't lost, should I say, to Cambridge in the last 5 tussles at the Kassam. So this is all pointing towards an Oxford win. Obviously, they lost club icon Joey Beecham in the week, and this is the first game since that passing. I know they're going to do kind of a mark of honour and a little ceremony. That's going to be extra motivation for the players, staff, and the fans. And then Cambridge, to top it all off, they haven't won in 5, on the road. They've arrested their slide by beating Stanley and Plymouth, both 2-0 in back-to-back home games in their last 2. But I think Oxford away represents a step up. It's not going to be easy for Oxford, but with their kind of insane attacking tactics, I think they could get it done.
Yep. Okay. Just one more for me in League One, unless you've got any more to add. Sheffield Wednesday at home to Charlton. 1.86 is the price for Wednesday to get the win. Generally, very good at Hillsborough. They've lost just one game at home since October, and that was last time out when they played the Yorkshire Derby against Rotherham and lost 2-0. Before that, beaten plenty of good sides at home. Beaten Wigan, beaten Ipswich, beaten Plymouth, beaten MK Dons, beaten Bolton, beaten Sunderland. So, a lot of the teams in that top half, kind of top 9, 10 of League One, aside from Rotherham, they've beaten them. In Charlton, they're playing a team who are really starting to struggle, and they've had quite the opposite in recent weeks. In the last 4 games, they've lost them all, and they're against sides in that top part of the table. So they've lost against Bolton 2-1, they've lost against Wigan 2-1, they've lost against Oxford 4-0, they've lost against MK Dons 2-0, and that's consecutively in the last 4 games. So you've got here a side in Charlton who looks like they're really starting to struggle when they're playing these top sides in League One, of which I'd class Sheffield Wednesday as being another one of them. So I certainly think that the form that Wednesday have got, particularly at home, combined with Charlton's poor run, should see a fairly comfortable win for Wednesday here.
Yeah, agreed. Big fan of Wednesday. Been on their train for a couple of weeks now, and it
Yeah,
looks like the train ride's going to end in the playoffs. Maybe we'll see.
it does.
Tom,
It does.
Do you know what? I did have Ipswich down. I've not been
Oh,
a big fan of Ipswich.
you are.
Yeah, but I've taken it off again, so it was destined not to be there. 2.0 they are away at Morecambe. And I had all this research planned. I had all these reasonings why I was going to back Ipswich. And then Derek Adams rocks up at Morecambe. Uh, you may remember maybe 2 shows ago, I said to you, I didn't think Alex Neil would have a instant impact where the place lifts for that Wimbledon game.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the opposite of this one, because with Sunderland, they wanted Roy Keane, the fans wanted Keane, Alex Neil came, and even though it's probably a better appointment, it all felt a bit flat.
Yeah.
And it was all like, what are we doing? Who's making the decisions? Where did Roy Keane come from? How have we ended up at Neil? And there is an aspect to that with Morecambe, but it's like, oh my God, Derek Adams is back. He got us this absolutely unexpected promotion. And, we need points. We're in basically we got a 12-game season now with our best manager of all time. This is amazing. It might lift everyone. So I'm a bit nervous now to back Ipswich.
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah, I wouldn't be going for Ipswich this weekend for exactly the same reasons. But I like to see that you're warming to them, though. I like to
Yeah,
see
yeah,
that.
yeah. Like I said, if it wasn't for Adams coming back, I would have tipped him up.
Cool. Right then, let's look at League Two. I tell you what, mate, this was a real struggle. Like
Yeah,
for
okay.
me,
I've got 2. How many you got?
I had a big fat 0.
Bloody hell! You're kidding me.
No,
Wow.
there
Okay.
was nothing on here that I felt that strongly about. That really.
Okay. All right.
So
Well,
take it away.
let's start off with, for me, what's the most obvious one? Forest Green away at Crawley. I'd love to hear why you don't fancy this once I've rattled through why I do. Crawley are dangerous to go against. They are one of the most unpredictable teams in the entire 92. They are absolutely wild. They rank mid-table for attack, defense, home, away. Last 8 league games and the real league table. Like, I feel like they are awful to back it against. So I will say that to start off with. But the one thing that is consistent with Crawley is their inability to play against the top sides. And Forest Green are, from what Mike Flynn said after he beat Forest Green, so it's obviously a lot easier to say once you've won, he said that Forest Green are the best team at League Two level for a decade. Who knows what points tally they'll end up on? Ultimately, I suppose that's what we'll have to go off. But I'm confident this Forest Green side, who are unbeaten away from home all season, with 8 wins and frustratingly 7 draws. So obviously I'm backing them to win, and they have drawn quite a lot. They can get back on track, utilising the best away record in the league. I know they lost last time out against Walsall, but if we're talking about one of the best League Two teams over the last 10 years, they do not lose 2 in a row. This may end up in a draw, but 1.85, I can't not back Forest Green.
Yeah. Yeah. It's Forest Green. If they won, it absolutely wouldn't surprise me. The reason I didn't go for it is just partly because of the Crawley unpredictability, which you mentioned. Crawley lost us one of their last 4 games in League Two, and Forest Green have drawn a fair few away. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if Forest Green won this one.
Fair enough. And then finally, away, double chance. Oldham Athletic away at Colchester United. I mean, Oldham and John Sheridan, it just works. It just works. Sheridan got such bad reports from his last few jobs. Like, I thought he was done in the EFL. Like, Wigan and Swindon, I think it was. Noises coming out of there. Worst dressing room that the players have ever dealt with. Terrible tactics. Like, argumentative. Like, very like, he comes into Oldham and he's like the Messiah. Like, it's unbelievable. They're now looking like they can suck teams in it. And at one stage, it looked like they were just absolutely done. 1 defeat in 8 for Oldham. There's plenty of draws in there, but remember, this is double chance, so a draw will do. And this is the classic pressured team against the pressure is slightly off team that we spoke about earlier. Colchester are that team that are getting sucked into it. Oldham are coming into it below Colchester, but they can overtake them with a win. Colchester haven't won in 4, any of the last 7 at home. Like, this has huge implications. So you've got a team kind of, resurrected from nowhere. So the whole club and the fans and everyone's like, bloody hell, like, we might actually stay up. This is crazy. Thought the season was done, non-league, etc., etc. Then you got Colchester, who are just dying this slow, painful death, and they can be overtaken by the Hunter, who is Oldham. So double chance, bit of statistics and a bit of narrative as well, which is always my favourite. 1.74.
Yeah, John Mr. Oldham, isn't he? I've just
It's
had a quick
crazy.
look at his Wikipedia. Played for Oldham for 6 years, between 98 and 2004, and he's now in his 6th spell as Oldham manager in either full managerial, head coach, caretaker form. So
He loves it.
6 6 in the 6 different spells of the same club. That's mental.
Yeah, it's kind of Martin Allen Brentford vibes. That's what it gives me. Not Brentford, sorry, Barnet vibes. But yeah, it's absolutely crazy, but it seems to be working. I mean, if he keeps them up, fine. They'll probably give him the job. He'll be sacked by October, and then someone will come in. They'll struggle, and then maybe he'll come and save him again. I don't know.
Yeah. Foolproof. Literally never go down as long as you have him in charge for the last few months of the season.
Yeah.
Never go down. Okay, cool. Well, that's that then for all the tips. Let's wrap everything up in a nice little bow that is the bomb-proof treble.
Yeah, we're just going to take a very quick peek at last week's. We've pretty much discussed where it went wrong, but we had Arsenal to beat Brentford. They did so 2-1. We had Bolton to beat Wimbledon. Now, I was a bit unsure about this one behind the scenes, but Tom sold it to me, and credit where credit's due. They won 4-0. Absolutely thumped them. And then Preston, home to Reading, and as Tom said, lost 1 in 9, and it was that one. So lost 3-2 at home. They went 3-0 down. And obviously that win ended with Pauno leaving by, inverted commas, mutual consent. So that rubbed it in even more. But we're back again with an exclusively enhanced treble from Matchbook. So, Tom, I can't wait for you to read it out for the listeners and viewers.
Yeah, so this treble is going to be best priced on Matchbook. You don't want to miss that one. And like Tom mentioned earlier on in the show, if you deposit £25 with Matchbook using the code TFB podcast, you can bet up to £20 on the bomb-proof treble and get that money back as cash if the bomb-proof treble loses. So it's a risk-free chance to try out mine and Tom's treble picks and see how we do. Hopefully win you some money. So we're going to go for Luton at home to Derby, Sheffield Wednesday at home to Charlton, and Oxford at home to Cambridge. So yeah, £10 is ample stake. Will return you a minimum of £57.
Yeah, so you need to head to Twitter or matchbook.com to find the direct link. So Twitter is T_FB podcast. I'll make sure that there's a direct link that you guys can click on to go straight to Matchbook's website. Or if you prefer, you can go to Matchbook's website, and in the top left corner, there's a search bar. Just type in podcast and we'll come up, and then you'll be able to back it directly. It's all pre-built. The enhanced price is all in there. It's all ready, good to go. You just pop your stake in and off you go.
Yeah, cool. Shall we have a quick look at fantasy football?
No.
I feel like I had a massive missed opportunity.
Why?
So I played my triple captain this week.
Oh, let's go.
Put it on the wrong person.
No, what? By accident, or do you mean you just picked?
No, I just picked the wrong person. I put it on Trent for Liverpool.
Right.
So they had two pretty steady games, didn't they, against Norwich and Leeds? And he didn't even play in the first one against Norwich. So that torpedoed that. And then Salah ended up getting a hatful of points. So I should have put it on Salah. And instead I didn't, and I obviously didn't. So
shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah, well, the highest person got 212 points for this game week, which looks to me like an absolutely phenomenal amount.
Good God.
212.
Wow, yeah, that's pretty frightening.
There wasn't even any triple captains or anything played there.
Wow.
Ben Mee got 21 points. Not bad going for Ben Mee.
Big up Ben Mee.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Crikey. Let's look at people who are a lot better than us at this game. Top 10 in reverse order: Warren Torch, Callum Hodgart, David Doherty, Alpha M9K, Ian Dawson, Chris Hindle, Nathan Brunskill, Cameron Nags, Chantel Cruikshanks, and David Brown with Browntown is currently top of the tree. He's 7 points ahead of Chantel. There's some absolutely scary points tallies at the top of this league, both overall and for the last game week. You know, I'm looking down here. There's 161, 151, 161, 145, 143. We can only dream, can't we? Of that.
I just want to put an SOS call out. David Torch, just hoping you can get in touch with me and show me the light, if possible. T_FB podcast. I need your guidance, my friend.
Oh man, Salah got 84 points if you had him as triple captain.
That's about as much as I've got all season, I think.
Seems like pretty much everybody did have him triple captain, apart from me and you.
Apart from us, yeah.
Yeah, but there we go.
All right. Well, that's been the Football Betting Podcast. Please follow us on Twitter, T_FB podcast. Please visit our sponsors, matchbook.com.
Yeah, thank you guys, and we'll see you again next week.